Hey guys, so today I created an image generation tool which will generate images based on news articles and have those images be relevant to the article itself. And to start with, I'm going to tell you this workflow is free on my school community. And I'm going to show you a quick example of what I've done here. So if we test this trigger, let's say tech news. And it's going to search the internet for tech news. It's going to come up with one article because I've set it to only have one article. Then it's going to generate an image based on this and finally upload it into my Google Drive. So to start with, I already have one here, but I'm going to delete that so you see it come through. And it's just uploading the file now. And if we refresh this, we can see that it's picked a image, and the image is based on an article called Small Business Technologies News. If I copy that straight into Google, I can find the article it's referencing, and I've realized that it's referencing this one. So the LLM has processed this article and come up with an image which is relevant as a kind of smart speaker. So some really cool tools and how I'm going to, in this workflow, and I'm going to show you how I've set this up. As I've said, it's going to be free on my school community. So if you find it easier to download from there, I highly recommend it because you don't have to set up each node individually. You can just download it ready to play. And on the school community, if you come into Classroom, YouTube workflows, and you'll see all of my YouTube workflows here ready to download. If you click on it, download the JSON and come to N8N, and you can come to the right and import from file. Then you have the workflow ready to play with. And all you'll need to do is set up the credentials for the nodes. Okay, getting straight into it. So if I reset this session, when chat message received, we're going to set this node up first. So first put this in and test it. So let's say sports news instead. And it's just going to come up with that. The next node is going to be our Tavily API node. So we're going to connect to an API called Tavily. And if I come to the homepage, this is the homepage of Tavily. And I highly recommend setting up an account. It's free for a certain amount. So 1,000 API credits per month. I found this to be more than enough for especially a hobbyist, but for businesses, perhaps you'll need to go. You can see pay as you go if you want as well. Once you've logged in, I'm going to show you how to set everything up, but you'll find your API key in your overview right here. And you want to come to these three menu tabs, three menu lines, and go to API Playground. This is how we're going to see how we can set the node up. So if you put in a query, so let's say sports news, and then include answer, let's say basic, and any additional fields you can change here. So for example, the type of topic we want as news, the search depth, we'll go basic, maximum results, 1, and time range, well, we'll say none for now, etc., etc. You can really specify this all the way down to however or whichever kind of content you want scraping the internet. You can even include certain domains. So if you want to search Wikipedia or BBC News, for example. So it's a really, really useful tool. And here you can see the Python script of how you would call it. Now, from an N8N node, we're going to be sending JSON. So the easiest way to do this is put it into ChatGPT and tell it to convert it into a JSON query. I've already done that, and I've come up with the query necessary. So if you want to play with it yourself, that's how you do it. Otherwise, just download the workflow and this will be ready to play with already. The first thing we're going to do when we're setting up this node is search for the HTTP request node. So that's the node I'm using. And then we're going to make sure the method is post. And we're going to put in the URL as the API tavily.com search. So when we're here, we can see that we want the query to be sports news or whatever our input is, include answer basic, topic news, etc., etc. To input this into your N8N node, we want to toggle the send body to be on, the body content type JSON, and then the specify body using JSON, and this will open up this kind of tab. And you want to specify the API key like this right here. And as I mentioned previously, the API key will be on your overview, and you just want to copy that and paste it straight into this part of your JSON. The next thing you're going to do is have the query be equal to your chat input. So whatever you input into your N8N node, that's what it's going to search the internet for. And then we have our other parameters like search depth, basic, include answer true, topic is news, include raw content true, and max results is 1. You can change this. I've only put 1 for now. You can play around with it. So let's execute this. And it's going to come up with sports news. So we can see, well, let's put 2 so you can see what it looks like if we have to. So sports news, the first one, we'll see in results, by the way. The first one, it gives you the URL. So it's given me a Sky Sports football transfer news article. And then the second one, if we scroll all the way down, is another Sky Sports News one. And again, this looks like another football transfer. But you can see that the content is here and the raw content is also given to us. So it's really cool. Then when we have more than one article, we want to split them out. So as you saw previously, it was all in results. If we execute this step and just split out the results part, it will give us the results in 2 different items, line items. So now we've split out the URL, the title, and the content into 2 different rows. You scroll down and this is the other row. So that's very useful because when we're looping it into that LLM, we want to make sure it's per row. So the next node we're going to put in is a loop over items and a batch size of 1 because we want to loop through each item individually. And let's execute this, and it's only going to go through once, and we can see the loop. The first item is through. And then we're going to have an image prompt generator. So our LLM is simply going to take in the article content and then find an image prompt which is relevant to the content. So here we want conversational agent, define below, and then news article, we're going to pull in the JSON content from here. Okay, straight into there. Really easy. Finally, the system message is the most important part of any kind of LLM. So I've told it it's going to be a professional news visual editor and image prompt engineer. So its only task is to analyze the news article and turn it into an image prompt for which can be used easily. This prompt is going to be ready to use inside my N8N workflow. So just if you download it, like I said, it will be there ready to play. Otherwise, feel free coming up with your own. I use ChatGPT heavily for these kind of things. I find it very useful to give me a good template, and then I can go into a little bit more detail if I want to. The OpenAI chat model that I've connected is using a GPT-4o mini. By the way, if you haven't set up a credential for OpenAI, it's very easy to. You just need to go to your OpenAI account and find your API key. Super simple. I'll do another video on this if I find that people are asking for it. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So if I run this, it's going to take the article content and it's going to give me a image prompt for this. So a photorealistic news photograph of a tense football practice session with Scotland national team players focused on a set piece drill under the watchful eye of their coach, blah, blah, blah. So super easy to see how it's working. Next bit is the most important part. which is connecting to the image generation API. And the way I found this, so I'm going to show you another thing, but the way I found this is through Hugging Face API. So previously I was using this, and this is really cool. This has hundreds of different models, and you can see image to text, text to video, etc. All kinds of different models trained on specific data sets. And actually, when I was finding a text to image, this is how I found Black Forest Labs Flux Dev. And in Hugging Face, if you go to view code, you can see how to implement the API key into N8N. Now, normally, well, I say normally, it seems here we have different, like what they call inference providers. And what this basically means is it's using a third-party provider to use this model. So for this example, I found that Hugging Face doesn't actually have one, but I can do it via Replicate, Wavespeed, or FAL. And I chose Wavespeed just randomly. And firstly, you can definitely do it via Hugging Face. However, the pricing actually seems to be not very high for inference models. So if I come here, I can see that my inference usage is only 10 cents. So if I come back to this, you can see that, yeah, I will only have a certain amount. And actually, when I was testing this, I ran out of credits. And that's when I found I can actually just go into the inference provider itself and set up my API key like that. So that's when I went to Wavespeed. And Wavespeed AI, it seems, has also a set of data, a set of image generation models, and not only image generation models, but it seems video generation models, all kinds of different things. And the one that I've used, so if I come to pricing at the top, I just basically, for the sake of playing around, I chose the cheapest one. So Flux Dev Ultra Fast. This lines up with what I had in Hugging Face as well. And it shows 0.05 cents per image. And so I just basically came to the top, searched for Flux Dev, and found this. And this, you can see, has, your request will cost 0.012 cents per run. So yeah, you can play around with different models, but this is the one I chose. I believe I chose, but anyway, if I see, yeah, Flux Dev Ultra Fast. So I've chosen a Flux Dev Ultra Fast, but I'm going to show you how to set this up with this one. If we come to API and HTTP, we can see how to send our request. So we can see that it's a post, and we want to put in this URL. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Copy and paste this, come back to our N8N and paste that into there. Choose a method to be post, authentication none, but we want to send headers. So in our Flux Dev, we can see that as our header, we want content type application/JSON. So content type application/JSON, and then we want an authorization and bearer Wavespeed API key. So if I come over here, we authorization, bearer, and then you want your API key from Wavespeed AI. And to find that, once you've logged in, of course, come to API key, and you can just view this, or just when you create a key here, it will come up with a new key. So yeah, that's, I think, very straightforward. So this is setting up to connect to Wavespeed AI. Then we send the JSON body, which has all our image prompt and whatever. So if we come back to the playground here, you can see that this is exactly how I want to send my JSON. This is going to be the query. So if I copy and paste this, I'm literally just going to copy and paste it as it is. And it already has an example prompt. We want to remove this prompt and input our own prompt. So if I come right there and pull in this output prompt, that's as simple as that. We can see the size is going to be 1024 by 1024. And yeah, all of these are different kind of parameters to refine how you're going to output the image. So I suggest playing around with it if you want to play around with it. But for this example, I'm just going to execute this step. And we're going to see that we return a URL. So two important things here. We can see that the status has been created. And I believe so firstly, there are times when I've used it when the status shows to be processing. So I don't know how fast this one has processed, but if it's processing, it takes a little bit of time. It's not instantaneous. And that is actually the reason why I have a wait node here. So I have about 10 seconds I found to be appropriate to get the data set. So if I execute this, it's just going to wait 10 seconds for the next node to go. But it needs time, obviously, to generate the image, which is why I've left that. And then I'm going to pull. So we get a URL result from Wavespeed. Now we want to pull the result. So the image has been created. We've sent a request, a post request to Wavespeed AI. Now the image has been created on the in the database. Now we want to pull it back in and get the result. So that's why our method is get. We just want to pull in this get URL right here. And then we're going to send the same headers. So we want to have our content type application JSON and our authorization to be bearer and the API key. And that's it. So when we execute this step, it should come back with here, status is completed, we can see, and output we see right here is a JPEG. So there's a JPEG output right there. And our last HTTP request is actually just to pull that JPEG and turn it into a binary field to save into Google Drive. So that's all I've done, pulled this field right here, and I've sent it. We don't need to send any headers. In fact, I can remove this because it adds nothing. Execute this step, and it will create a data item which has a binary thing. And if we actually view that, look at that. We can see that it's just a standard football image generated image. And so our last node is to upload this file, this binary file, into Google Drive. And so at the moment in our Google Drive, we have nothing. We only have that smart speaker one. But connect your Google Drive account. If you don't know how to or haven't done this, I have a separate video on this. But basically, you just want to follow the documents. It's really easy. Open Docs right here and follow these steps. And if you don't know how to do that, there is a video right here showing you how to do it. And if you still don't find that, I have a video as well to show you how to set up your Google credentials. We want to upload our file. Operation is upload, of course. Input data field name is data. And then we just want to pull in this. So for file name, you can put anything as your file name. But I thought, seeing as if we're pulling several items through, I want to have the article name as the title. So if you come here and come all the way back to loop over items, I know that the title of my article will be in this loop over items section. So that's exactly what I've pulled through. So if I come to loop over items, I can see the title is going to be this one, and I've pulled that right in there. And then choose the location of your drive once you've set up your Google Drive. So if I execute this step, I'm going to see it being a success. So that's all done. And if I come to Drive, I can see that a new image has been uploaded and it's there. Okay, so those are all the steps. Just to show why I've done this, so I've looped through it once already. The reason I have an extra edit fields is I found that if you don't add an edit fields after the loop is finished, it will continuously loop and it will get stuck there and the workflow won't finish. This way, I've just put in a done just to state that it's finished. It doesn't actually do anything, this node. And that is it. So I hope you can see how there are a couple things that can be really useful. The image generation connection to the API. So that is really useful for other things. And also the ability to search the internet via N8N. And you can even specify the period of time you want to search or the website you want to search. So I hope this was useful. Let me know in the comments if you have any. Otherwise, check out the School community to get this workflow.